Good morning, students. Today I will start with the chapter 2, that is federalism. The last chapter was power sharing, and federalism basically means power sharing. A country that believes in power sharing, that country is called as federalism. So you can see it is written that vertical division of power sharing is between different levels of government, and the horizontal division of power sharing is between the organs of government. So power sharing is one of the form of modern democracies. So it is most commonly referred to as federalism. जो भी country power sharing में believe करती है, in short, that country believes in federalism. So you can also take the example of the countries that was the case study in your first lesson. If you see Belgium and Sri Lanka, these were the two countries. Belgium believed in power sharing, so we can call that as a federal country. Whereas Sri Lanka did not believe in power sharing, so it can no way be called as a federal country. So through this we can have an idea that if a government believes in power sharing, then that country is called as federal, and if a government does not believe in power sharing, then that country is called as unitary. So we have unitary and federal form of government. Now what is this? A unitary form of government is a government where the power is concentrated in the hands of central government. There can be different levels. We can have state government, we can have local level government, but the entire power is in the hand of union government or state government. So we call it as unitary form of government. That is, all the decisions would be taken by union government. So what is a federal government? Federal government is one where the power is divided between central government and the subunits. It may be state government, it may be local self-government. Like you see in our country, central government has its own power, state government has its own power. A central government can take decisions based on atomic energy, defense or external affairs. State government can take decisions based on law and order, land reforms, health, police. These all are the matters of state government. So here we see that the power is divided. So that is the difference between a unitary and a federal form of government. Therefore, Sri Lanka, for all practical purposes, is a unitary form of government. Why? Because the national government has all the powers. What was the issue? That Tamil people wanted a federal form of system, that is division of power. So in short, federalism means what? Power sharing. Now, federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and the various constituent units of the country. Why is it so written various constituent units? Because different countries will have their own nomenclature. What we called as local self-government in our country is called as community government in Belgium. So let us not go into this. We only need to understand that the division of power between the central government and state government or the other level of government is called as federalism. One is the government for entire country, that is usually responsible for a few subjects of common national interest. The others are government at the level of provinces. So provinces means states that look after much of the day-to-day administering of their state. Both these level of governments enjoy their power independent of the other. That is what I explained you right now. That central government has its own power. State government has its own power. Central government का jurisdiction पूरा country है. State government का jurisdiction या area उसका state होता है. Okay, come to the next. In this sense, federations are contrasted with unitary governments. Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government or the sub-units are subordinate to the central government. So we may have different levels of government. We may have this. या तो सिर्फ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ही होगा या तीनों लेवल्स होंगे. That does not matter. The power is concentrated here. The central government can pass on orders to the provincial or the local government. But in a federal system, the central government cannot order the state government to do something. Why? Because the state government has its own power. State government has powers of its own. for which it is not answerable to the central government, because that power has been given to the state government by the holy book of the land, that is constitution. So that power cannot be taken. So let us look at some of the key features of federalism. The first key feature of federalism is there are two or more levels of government. Because the country or the form of government believes in power sharing, there has to be levels of government. Different tiers of government govern the same citizen, but each tier has its own jurisdiction in specific matters of legislation, taxation and administration. So central government and state government. The area of reach or the area where the law is applicable is called as jurisdiction. So central government's jurisdiction is entire country, the state government's jurisdiction is entire state, but the citizen is one. If I stay in Jharkhand, I also stay in India. So the laws on me would be equally applicable, whether it is made by central government or state government. But what changes for me? Central government has its own authority, state government has its own authority. I would be taxed by both, but what they are legally entitled for. The jurisdiction of the respective levels or tiers of government are specified in the constitution. So, in the 7th schedule of the Indian constitution, everything is very clearly mentioned. The people who were the members of Constituent Assembly were very far-sighted in nature. They could see what will happen in the future if right now we don't write everything, and that has also been in a very elaborate and explicit manner. So they have written down everything. What subjects or what matters, the decision will be taken by union government. That goes into union list. Then we have a state list. On the matters where only the state government can take decision, that is state list. Then we have concurrent list. On the matters where both state and central government can take decision, for an example education, that is in concurrent list. That's why right to education, a very important part, Article 21A of our constitution. That is both the responsibility of central and state government. Why? Because education is a matter of concurrent list. And then we have residuary list. Whatever was not thought of by them, like cyber crime, that was never thought of by them. That this could also be a phenomenon later in life. Cyber crime goes to residuary list. Residuary list is in the hands of central government. Everything is explicitly mentioned. The fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed. Unilaterally means singularly, by one level of government. If something, for an example, say Article 21 life and liberty has to be abrogated or taken away, although that is not possible, for an example, if there has to be a change in fundamental right, union government cannot do it alone. Union government will have to take the consent of 50% of the states as well. That is special majority plus 50% of the ratification of states, and this is mentioned in the constitution. So any provision that leads to a grave change in the constitution cannot be done by central government. Why? Because that is the word, grave change, major change in the constitution. So state governments need to participate. Again, a very basic feature of federalism. Courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of different levels of government. The highest court acts as an umpire if dispute arises between different levels of government in the exercise of their respective powers. Judiciary has the power to interpret the norms of the constitution. Neither central government nor state government can make any provision which is not in line with the norms of the constitution and say, if there is a dispute between central government and state government, what will happen? They can go to Supreme Court. If there is a dispute between two state governments, Jharkhand and Bihar, they can go to Supreme Court. Ample power is given to judiciary to sort out the issues. Sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy, freedom. Which tax will be collected by which level is very clearly and explicitly mentioned in the constitution. So there has to be no tussle between the central government and the state government. And the last feature, the federal system thus has dual objectives. First, to safeguard and promote the unity of the country. This is how it is trying to establish in fraternity and harmony. That is the essence of the preamble. And the second, to accommodate the regional diversity. Diversity means variety. We are very diverse in nature. So we all will have our own demands and our own expectations, which can only be met when we are dividing powers. That is what is federalism all about. I'll continue with the other subtopics in the next lecture.